hello and welcome to today's edition of the Pastor's Study. You've probably heard the phrase, put your mind in gear before your mouth in motion. Well, that could have come right out of Solomon's Proverbs in chapter 29, verse 20. He says, do you see a man who is hasty in his words? Somebody who's quick to speak, somebody who says stuff before they think it through. He says, there's more hope for the fool than for him. Now that's a hard thing to say. That's harsh. To say that a fool would be better than a person who speaks rashly, without giving thought to what they're saying, without giving thought to how those words might impact others. So we need to think about that and be careful and be slow in our conversation. Take time to consider the words that you're saying and the impacts that they would have. He tells us that the one who pampers his slave from childhood, he said, in the end, will find him to be a son. If you treat a worker, somebody that works for you, gently and carefully, they'll respond. They'll be like a son or a daughter to you. You won't see them in a employee-employer relationship. And we have to keep in mind, many times in scriptures, when it talks about slave situation, we're not talking about slavery, the ownership of people. We're talking about people who are working for you, people who have been hired, people who you've provided everything in their life for. That long-term arrangement. It's not to say that you're allowed to mistreat people, but rather people who would be in your employment, people who you would be providing work for. In the culture of the day, you would provide a place for them to live. You would provide for all of their needs, their well-being. It didn't give you the right to mistreat them or the entitlement to mistreat them. But he says if you treat them gently and kind, they'll be like a son to you. They'll be like family. And what better way to have them? And think about a man who has pride. It will destroy them. But when you have humility, then you will be honored. So think about it. How do you treat others? Are you humble? Till next time in the Pastor's Study, goodbye and may God bless.